Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we're going to be diving back into the recent developer announcement about the release date of Season 6, but we did a full separate video all about the release date and all about the details of the update itself, but today what we're going to be talking about is how they made a little bit of a change to how they announced console to PC crossplay. Now, originally in the community update, it was sort of put in as almost like it seemed like a little bit of an afterthought, and then when they changed their update, they actually gave us a lot more in-depth information about console to PC crossplay, which is, by the way, coming on the 7th of December. It's just not coming to every single system on that date, but it is coming. And in this video, we're going to kind of explain what that means. Now, if you watched my original video, you'll remember that this was the update that I talked about, where it said free update with consoles-PC crossplay, photo mode, and more. They have now since changed that messaging to this, which specifically reads, along with Season 6 on December 7th, SnowRunner will get a big free update, bringing crossplay between PC, PlayStation, and a little later, Xbox One. Now, Xbox One, I'm sure, means just the entire family of Xbox consoles, but the point there is the fact that literally PC and PlayStation systems will be able to play online together beginning on the 7th of December. Now, this is a huge deal, right? It's a massive deal. Because really, there were so many people that said crossplay in SnowRunner would never happen, and even when the developers first announced that they were doing it, there were still a lot of people that were like, nah, that's not even going to be a real thing. They're just kind of, they're just kind of either saying that, or maybe they're thinking about doing it, but they're not actually serious. No, they're actually serious, and they're so serious about it, in fact, that they've put a date on it, and if you are a PlayStation user, and you have some friends that have the game on PC, you will be able to play online multiplayer with them starting on December the 7th. Now, as of the recording date of this video, they have not yet given us a release date for crossplay between Xbox and PC. However, I'm sure that that won't be far behind. Now, I'm sure that the Xbox people out there, when they see this video, they're going to be like, hang on, wait a minute, where's our crossplay? Why are the PlayStation users getting it and we're not? Now, rest assured, once again, I'm sure that if they're putting a date on the PC to PlayStation crossplay, I have absolutely no doubt that the Xbox crossplay is not far behind at all. Now, what does this mean for everything we've seen up to this point? Well, in the past update, or in the last season, I should say, they released a little bit of an addition to the mod browser menu, where you would actually be able to physically see on the mod browser menu not only what mods were console compatible, but you could actually sort by console compatibility. Now, what I'm sure that was paving the way for was a way for PC users to basically enable a filter to see which mods they would be able to use with their console friends in multiplayer without having to go through and obviously, talk to their friend and list off individual mods one by one. But then rather than doing that, they would actually be able to just use a simple sort option right there on the mod browser menu, which will make multiplayer with mods on, between console and PC a lot more simple to set up. Now, one of the biggest things I'm noticing in the community in regards to discussions around the topic of crossplay is people seem to be just a tad concerned about multiplayer stability. Now, I completely understand why, but at the same time, I have a feeling that it may actually work decently well right off the bat, because the reason why I say that, now I could be wrong on this, but the reason why I say that is because they wouldn't be putting a date on it, or at least I don't feel like they would be putting a date on it unless they've done extensive testing on it in-house at the studio with crossplay between PC and PlayStation, and I'm sure they've tested, or at least I would hope that at this point they've tested Xbox. It's probably just not entirely done yet. Now, at the end of the day, the ultimate goal, I'm sure, would be to have crossplay between PC, PlayStation, and Xbox all at the same time, and I would love for that to be a thing. However, I don't have specific details yet on whether or not you'll be able to play with all three platforms in the same lobby, or if it's going to be a system where it's either PC to PlayStation or PC to Xbox, and, you either kind of have to go one way or the other. Now, obviously, the ultimate goal would once again be to have all of the variety of systems in a multiplayer session at the same time, but I feel like that would pose a lot of issues, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that once they release the Xbox to PC crossplay later on down the road, upload after December 7th, but we're definitely planning on doing some testing in regards to the PC to PlayStation multiplayer crossplay once that becomes available. Now, let me know in the comment section down below, how you guys feel about the fact that they are actually bringing crossplay between PC and consoles to the game officially, and not only that, but let me know if you feel like it's going to be a really big step forward for the game in terms of multiplayer. Now, another thing I really want to bring up real quick is next-gen updates, because I have seen a little bit of talking here and there in the community about, questions on next-gen updates. Now, the developers have not given us anything concrete in terms of when, next-gen optimizations or next-gen updates are coming. However, I'm sure that that's something that is a consideration in their minds. I just think they probably want to finish polishing the crossplay first before they tackle something like next-gen updates. Now, because next-gen updates are going to be a big thing, and I'm sure they would want to try to overhaul a lot of the visual aspects, especially of the game, and if they're overhauling a bunch of visual aspects of the game, it's something that is going to take not only a lot of actual, developer power put into that, but it's also going to take a lot of time, and so I'm sure that they have to kind of pick and choose where they put their time throughout the game's post-launch development cycle, and crossplay definitely seems to be something that's at the forefront of their list of things to do right now. But as we talk more and more and more about crossplay in SnowRunner, it really does take me back a lot to the days of MudRunner, where not only was crossplay just kind of a wild out there thought that nobody thought was actually going to happen, but I mean, you got to keep in mind that back in the MudRunner days, we didn't even think console modding was ever going to be possible with this franchise. So think about where we are now in terms of not only do we have console modding, but we also have literally crossplay between PC and consoles about to become a thing. So that really is truly mind-blowing in terms of where this game started versus where it is now. And if you compare the evolution from Spin Tires to MudRunner to now SnowRunner, the amount of technological advancements, and especially in the realm of modding and multiplayer, really has been huge. And I think it's actually incredibly satisfying to see where this series has started versus where it is today, especially, looking at it as someone that has played this series from the release of the original Spin Tires tech demo. And if you were to put the Spin Tires tech demo side by side with SnowRunner and told someone back then all of the things that you were going to be able to do in this game today, they probably wouldn't have believed you. And yet, here we are, not only with all of the updated, physics and visuals, but we also have console modding, we have console to PC crossplay about to become a thing in the upcoming update. So really, the amount of things that this series has achieved is truly incredible, and I really do think that if you've stepped away from SnowRunner for a little while, this update is definitely worth at least coming back and taking another look at it, especially if you are maybe a console user that has friends on PC, or vice versa, because I think it could open up the door for a lot of really fun multiplayer experiences. Now, I know that this update is very heavily multiplayer focused, and I have seen that some of the single-player focused parts of the community are a little bit iffy about that, but I'm sure that the game will also have a lot of improvements in terms of single player when the next gen updates get a little bit closer. And what's really interesting as well is the fact that as Season 6 gets close to its stable game version release, that also means that the public test server is going to be moving on to Phase 7 before too long, or Season 7, either way. And if we look back at the season's timeline, Season 7 is going to be focused on, or at least they say, it is going to be focused on competitive driving and racing and things like that. And that right there, I mean, you guys know me, I'm always down for anything in SnowRunner that involves racing, anything that involves rock crawling or competitive off-roading. And if Season 7 is focused around that and we have a whole new region that's entirely dedicated to stuff like that, I think that's going to be a really interesting, it's going to be a really interesting update for one, and it's also going to be really interesting to see what the developers kind of, vision of competitive driving looks like in SnowRunner in terms of comparison to all of the competitive driving based mod maps and mod regions that we've seen up to this point. There's also been, of course, the talks back and forth about mods on Switch, because we saw a couple of things, that were odd in the PTS, especially in terms of the editor, where people were able to pack maps or attempt to pack map files for Switch use, but the developers didn't really confirm anything about that, so that's still very up in the air. Now, we don't have anything concrete on whether or not mods are going to be coming to Switch at any time, but I think it's safe to say that there's definitely something, at least it's something that we can speculate about, that is being considered. So I think there's still a lot in store for not only the PC users and the main console users, but also potentially Switch users as well. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Please do let me know any of your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Again, I don't normally do follow-up videos to previous update breakdowns, but I definitely felt like this one was really worth revisiting because PC to console crossplay is a huge deal, and the fact that we actually have a legitimate nailed down date on it now is really, in my opinion, a incredibly big deal for this game. But once again, that's going to do it for this video, guys, and I will see y'all on the next one. Talk to y'all later.